Hey everybody, and welcome to this special on Chiron going direct. I'm Amani. I'm a karmic, holistic, astrological life coach, and I like to go in depth in all that I do, and all of my interpretations, especially when it comes to Venus, Mercury, Sun transits and everything really, are based on Vedic astrology, which is based on where the planets or the luminaries, which are the Sun and the Moon, are any given time in the sky. And all times are in GMT time as well. So yeah, thanks for listening, and yeah. So this year, Chiron goes direct at 9:13 p.m. GMT time on the 29th of December and stays direct in Pisces until when it moves into Aries on the 3rd of May 2025 at 11:15 until the 30th of July 2025 at 3:42 p.m. when Chiron goes retrograde. So yeah, this is an in-depth guide on all things to do when Chiron goes direct for the next 8 months. So yeah. So in astrology, Chiron is known as the wounded healer, representing the areas where we have experienced deep emotional wounds or traumas, but also where we have the potential for profound healing and growth. So when Chiron transits a planet or point in our birth chart, it can, or in transit as we got here now, it can bring about opportunities for healing, self-awareness and transformation. On the negative side, Chiron's influence can sometimes manifest as old wounds, resurfacing, triggering feelings of vulnerability or inadequacy. Chiron's energy is all about introspection, self-reflection, facing uncomfortable truths about ourselves or our past experiences or people in our life or about our relationships. But as we know, this is why sometimes we can escape into intoxicating substances or relationships. Acknowledging and working through our pain as human beings can be difficult, but ultimately Chiron energy offers us a chance to come out at the other end of ourselves, healing, understanding and management, having more compassion for ourselves and others and being more self-aware. So overall, Chiron energy encourages us to confront our deepest wounds with courage and honesty. When Chiron was retrograde, we may have felt this more inward, but as it goes direct, it wants us to really take positive and practical actions doing the changes, not just thinking about them now. And this can lead to profound personal growth and emotional healing. And by embracing the lessons of Chirons, we can turn our vulnerabilities into sources of strength and wisdom as we, make our astrological journey towards more self-discovery and inner transformation. So if you just want the short version, I'm just going to go over the overall positives, negatives and the best use of Chiron direct in Pisces. So yeah, it allows us to be more creative, grow spiritually and experience deep emotional healing, because Pisces is for 12th house. So if we really want to, we can deal with all the secrets and lies others has told us or we tell ourselves and others, really going deep into our psyche, dealing with our addictions, our intoxicating sort of addictions to drugs, alcohol, porn or any other addiction, really going deep, acting on the things we may have acknowledged or thought about when Chiron was sort of retrograde. We can find ourselves being more empathetic and connected to our inner selves and the world around us at this time, and we can just have an increased period of intuition and self-discovery. But negatively, it can stir up unresolved emotional wounds and past traumas, even if we're trying to avoid them. And people can bring experiences, external situations can lead to us feeling vulnerable, confused foods or wanting to escape from them. So we may indulge in, whatever we do to escape. And we can just struggle with setting healthy boundaries, or we can just feel overwhelmed by the emotions that can come up. The best use of this energy is to embrace it for opportunity for inner healing, meditate, journal, engage in therapy or creative expression, and this can help us navigate this transit with more grace and transformation, and we can transform any challenges into opportunities for personal growth and renewal. So it's important to approach this time, the next, typically when Chiron goes direct, 7 to 8 months Chiron's direct, with more self-compassion and openness to learning your life lessons, and, using the energy that, Chiron in Pisces has to offer. So that's the short version. So now I'm going to go into the deeper version. So I'm going to talk more about the holistic astrological meanings, the practical, financial, political, worldly, materialistic and social collective meanings of Chiron direct. Astrologically, as I said, Chiron direct pushes us to confront and integrate our past wounds and all the different sides of our personality, our strengths and weaknesses, our good traits, our bad personality traits, It emphasizes the importance of recognizing our vulnerabilities and transforming them into strengths, So we may find that issues related to our personal identity, our sense of self, our self-worth and unresolved traumas come to the front of our mind, and this pushes us to seek out therapies or practices that create emotional and spiritual growth. Chiron direct, as I said, encourages us to take proactive, practical daily action steps, seeking out therapy, working on personal development, listening to those podcasts, reading that book, putting the techniques that we watch and listen to, into daily practice by transforming our actions, really fostering, creating emotional stability and spiritual growth within ourselves. And this can lead to breakthroughs that increases our understanding of ourselves and the place in the world. And as Chiron, sort of like goes direct, we can experience these changes in our relationships and interactions with others, and this can be at a time when we feel kind of like pushed to share our own healing journey for some of you, or sort of like create connections, build relationships or repair relationships for some of you, making sure they have more mutual understanding and empathy in them. And ultimately, collectively, it serves as a stimulator for collective healing, encouraging us to, participate in community projects or healing in our relationships, our families, and supporting groups, that aim to address pain or societal issues like the increasing, loneliness we all can feel, or psychological and emotional and spiritual illnesses we're all battling right now. And it invites us to really deeply engage with both our inner world and the collective, and this can allow for more holistic approach to looking after our well-being. So looking at the spiritual tools like meditation, yoga, tai chi, emotional freedom technique, Reiki, stuff like that, on looking at the psychological tools such as cognitive behavioral therapy, mindfulness as well, which kind of borders over spirituality and psychology, looking after your diet, what you eat, how this can change how you feel, doing exercises, just looking at the holistic things, making sure you're going to bed on time, getting more sleep, turning off lights at a certain time, the television at a certain time, not scrolling endlessly in social media all the time, just building up habits that, are aimed at repairing your emotional, psychological and spiritual health. So practically, it wants us to focus on building more emotional resilience and focus on our personal development. As I said, we may find ourselves identifying and addressing our limiting beliefs, especially those that hold us back in, our career or our relationships. And we may just actively participate, as I said, in counselling, workshops, self-help and other resources sources that promote healing and personal management and understanding and forgiveness and love and, stability. Financially, it wants us to redirect our investments towards personal growth or wellness programs, understanding that the more we develop, cultivate our inner self and our sense of self, the more this can lead to wider opportunities and success in us reaching our goals and accepting ourselves. In terms of, our sort of collectively, it can push us to, relate practically with each other in more meaningful ways. As I said, becoming more involved in support groups or volunteer work and using our personal experiences to help others heal from similar struggles or solving our problems. As I said, this energy of the 7-8 months Chiron's direct, it wants us to sort of give and receive, give and take, we're helping others and gaining support from others and accepting the support from others. Actually, sharing our stories can inspire us, and hearing others can inspire you to start your own healing journeys, and this can create a ripple effect that increases collective well-being and deepens social connections. So on the financial level, it's a period of financial healing. It wants us to reassess our financial beliefs, especially about us being deserving of our own good or believing that we can bring more financial abundance in our life. We may find that old patterns related to money, such as fear or avoidance, come to the surface for us to think about, for us to examine. We can find that, it's an ideal time to acknowledge any wounds associated with financial struggles and, sort of look at innovative solutions to overcome our financial issues right now. And by addressing these issues, we may unlock new pathways for financial growth, and this can lead to more sustainable and fulfilling wealth building strategies for the future. We may also feel pushed to invest in ventures that align with our values and personal growth, rather than, doing things to merely seek profit. Encourages us to reevaluate how our financial decisions reflect our inner healing journey. And as we navigate these changes, we may also develop a deeper understanding of the interconnectedness of our personal well-being and financial stability, and this can lead to a more balanced and holistic choices in our financial decisions. On a political level, we can observe a collective shift as we, confront deep-seated wounds related to injustice, inequality, and especially those who don't speak a lot or don't get a lot of compassion at times, the homeless, those who may have different gender expressions and stuff like that. So this energy, Chiron direct, can push leaders and communities to address systematic issues that have historically caused harm, creating an environment where conversations around healing can happen, and coming up with policies that help those who are marginalised. Chiron direct politically focuses on, encourages us, gives us that energy to heal as a collective, and especially have more ease when we're talking about social justice. People may want to stand up for policies that not only address past pain and grievances and injustices, but also work towards building more inclusivity and equality into the world as it is now. So it wants us politically, we may see leaders having a reassessment of national and global priorities. We may witness movements gaining momentum as people seek to rectify past wrongs and build a more compassionate political sort of landscape. And as we sort of participate in these conversations and consider how our personal beliefs align with wider movements for change, we can be more open to learning from different perspectives, because a lot of the time it can just get stuck in our ways and stuck in our beliefs, not foreseeing that sometimes that, all of us are kind of passionate about our beliefs and we're all could turn blue in the face sort of thing, arguing, you know, who's right and wrong. But we have to sort of find that middle ground. As Bertrand Russell said, you know, we have to learn to tolerate each other, you know, or we're gonna all sort of like kill each other in a way, you know. So it's time to embrace healing as a practical tool, and it wants us to sort of like have more of a commitment, and we may see politically leaders having more commitment to collective well-being, and, you know, putting in policies that look after emotional, spiritual and physical sort of like health as well. So on a material level, as I said, it sort of like brings focus to wealth, resources and personal values. It can make us feel drawn to examine our relationships with money, possessions and what truly holds value in our lives. It encourages us to shift from purely materialistic activities to a more meaningful engagement with what we earn and how we use our resources. And it pushes you know, reallocation of our financial priorities towards areas that create personal and collective growth. So it can influence market trends and economic strategies on the wider scale, and businesses and investors can start to recognise the importance of ethical practices and sustainable investments. And we're seeing that more and more, but not just like PR campaigns that make companies appear good, but, you know, some businesses will actually want to put real, you know, changes into their structures and stuff, and we may see emergence of more people starting up side hustles and, you know, sort of like reclaiming the power back from, you know, the big sort of like entities that don't care about the consumer in a way. So yeah, we can see a rise in, you know, initiatives that focus on social responsibility, where financial, you know, gains and profit margins are not the sole sort of like aim, but rather a balance between profit and positive impact that actually helps people heal and, you know, is sustainable over time, because we can't just keep on, you know, taking the resources from the earth and its people and never replenishing them. You know, something will have to give. So it challenges us on the worldly materialistic level to align our financial plans with healing and integrity, you know, with ethics and thinking about what's for the greater good, not just what's good for our own needs and egos. And this can create a sense of responsibility towards both our personal well-being and those needs of our families, our children's, other people's children's, you know, the community, other nations, people of different beliefs, religions and spiritual sort of paths than ours, you know. So now I'm going to talk about what Chiron direct means on the social collective level. So it can sort of like, as I said, it brings a collective reckoning with the themes of healing, vulnerability and social justice. It encourages us to confront societal wounds, creating discussions around inclusion, empathy and the importance of addressing marginalised voices. And as communities kind of struggle with issues such as inequality and trauma, and it pushes us towards more collective healing, as well as showing us the importance of shared experiences. As I've said before, we can find ourselves more in tune with the healing potential of working with each other, even though we may have differences and not believe in everything someone else does. Just seeing that, you know, the more we divide, the more, you know, it's not a nice place for us as human beings and our children and the creatures like animals and stuff. So, you know, thinking of the greater good rather than our personal egos, as I said. Chiron direct can also make us think about our social structures and norms and conforming, pushing movements that, you know, advocate for mental health, awareness, emotional well-being, and the necessity of creating environments where people can grow. A lot of the time the pressures in the world, it's not an environment where everyone can thrive. We're getting increasingly more anxious, depressed and stressed out, you know, and more and more increasing, you know, psychological disorders, which is good. And of course, you know, as a holistic Karmic astrologer, I point towards the spiritual underpinnings of being, you know, I believe in reincarnation. So just coming into this life with like soul trauma, as well as the trauma that we can pick up, and how important it is to be aware of soul trauma and how to heal it as well. And it sort of like allows us to have a more sense of interconnectedness if we want to, because we can talk about these issues in our social settings, and this can lead to a more sense of belonging to our friendship groups and can help us with collective healing and our personal growth, as I said before. And on the social level, it pushes us to contribute to initiatives that promote healing, understanding and a more equal world. In terms of the psychological meanings of a Chiron direct, it wants us to focus on self-acceptance as well as self-healing and awareness, pushing us to confront and integrate past traumas that have shaped our identity. So it encourages us to embrace being vulnerable, recognizing and acknowledging our own wounds, and how this recognition and working towards changing and loving our strengths and weaknesses, accepting our past, letting go, realizing that we can carry, not to say I'll just let go. It's hard to let go of emotional baggage, but to work on doing it, and seeking out therapy or supportive relationships that help you healing, and letting go of toxic habits and relationships that stunt it, and letting yourself grieve for your past and not feeling shame, because sometimes we feel guilt and shame, and then we can come to believe we only deserve toxicness, and this is why we stick with what we know, we stick in our comfort zone. So sort of like working on understanding yourself, healing the inner child and the wounded adult, and nurturing your emotional, spiritual and psychological well-being, and focusing on inner work, shadow work, self-reflection, uncovering patterns that have gotten in the way of your emotional, spiritual and psychological development. And by being self-reflective and taking time out to think, it can help you with your personal healing, but it also can increase your capacity, ability to have empathy towards other people. And I found this to be true, because the more, I've become more self-aware, the more I have understand. And this is not in a way to accept other people walking over you and giving them excuses for their poor behaviour, but helping you to have more compassion and understand and know what you want to stay away from. We can go through phases, but if we always believe, for instance, that we deserve toxic relationships, then that's all we're ever going to be involved in and think we deserve. So just really coming to the understanding of letting your past be your past, and getting true full about what you want to manifest in your life and where you want your life to go, and actually learning to make yourself believe that you're worthy of your own good or more good in your life. So spiritually, it's a stimulator for spiritual awakening. It invites us to recognize the sacredness of our spiritual journeys through pain and healing. It emphasizes, as I said, the interconnectedness of all beings, pushing us to engage in spiritual wounds and transform them into sources of wisdom, and embrace our vulnerabilities. And we encourage to find purpose in our suffering, which can lead to a deeper understanding of universal themes such as compassion and forgiveness. And we can feel an increased sense of connection to our higher self and the collective consciousness as well. It's a time to reflect on the lessons that come from our experiences, making space for spiritual practices that align with our healing journeys. And we might find that, these insights not only increase our personal growth, but also empower us to share our wisdom with others, and create communities and families and friendships that are founded, rooted in understanding and shared experiences, rather than lies and fear, and feeling that we can't be understood, or we can't understand others, trying to find that middle ground. In terms of the esoteric and hidden meanings, Chiron direct invites us to dig into the depths of our inner wounds, and it can reveal, if we're willing to do the self-reflection and the thinking, right, we can gain profound, deep insights that show us the reasons behind our inner wounds, where they originate from, what we need to work on. A lot of the time it's past heartbreak or rejection from our childhood not enough love from one or both parents, or from our childhood friends or family members or brothers and sisters, stuff like that, and rejection or feeling abandoned for a lot of us. So it symbolises the awakening. So Chiron energy is all about waking up to the inner healer within ourselves, the ways that we can heal ourselves. A lot of the time we think, other people can help us heal on tools in the external world, but even when we use the external tools, a lot of the time the reason why we can become stuck in our healing journey is because we don't find that inner healer. There comes a time, just like a baby has to, come off formula milk, right? There comes a time when we have to come off external therapists and spiritual teachers and guidance and find that inner healer with us that can help us when no one else is around, when we may be single, or so when we go through heartbreak and hard times in life, we have ourselves at least. So a lot of the time we think, no, we need someone else, and yes, this can be true, sometimes we do, but sometimes we need ourselves, sometimes we abandon ourselves in our heartbreak. And I've been on both spectrums, where I've gone through heartache when I haven't felt so connected to myself, and heartbreak when I've have felt connected with myself. And there is a difference, finding and awakening to that inner healer, your inner power, and it encourages us to confront suppressed emotions and beliefs that have been holding us back. And by, on the esoteric hidden level, by acknowledging these secret hidden aspects of ourselves, we can continue or start a transformative process that not only heals our personal pain but also connects us to the wider human experience. Esoterically, it wants us to recognise that our struggles, our pain, our suffering, our heartbreaks, our rejection, abandonment issues, our addictions, our negative experiences, right, our toxic thoughts, habits, relationships, can illuminate ourselves, help us heal, help us love and respect ourselves. But by sharing these struggles, it can lead the way for others, to turn their scars into sources of light and guidance and love and healing and self-respect and esteem and stuff. Also, it wants us to recognise the cycle of life and the cycle, cyclical nature, the round and round nature of healing and growth. And I found that, sometimes we may heal something on one level, but we may have to go through it again to heal it on a deeper level, but also to know when enough is enough. And this is why I say a lot of the time we have to get sick of our own behaviours, and this can take lifetimes, so sometimes it's up to the person to really go within and ask themselves, what do I want to heal this lifetime, and no one from the outside can tell you that, how much you should be doing, how, we all need to know exactly by going within, what it is we want to change, what's in our capacity to change this lifetime now, and stuff like that, and I can't tell anyone that. All I can say is we need to become in sync with ourselves and become self-aware, and by doing that you be able to uncover what you need to heal and the things you need to be healing this lifetime. We can encounter situations that mirror our past traumas at this time, and although this can be painful, what they're trying to do now is offer us new perspectives and opportunities for resolving past pain by bringing these situations and showing us what we actually do need to still heal within ourselves, and it just esoterically emphasises the importance of self-acceptance and the recognition that our journey is intertwined, interconnected with the journeys of others. It encourages us to explore hidden lessons that are embedded in our challenges, and this can create a deeper sense of empathy and understanding that transcends individual experiences, and ultimately this can contribute to the collective healing of society, So on the symbolic, mythological and creative, emotional level, as I said, Chiron direct resonates deeply with the archetype imagery of the wounded healer. It wants us to embrace the duality of our pain and our potential, recognizing that our wounds can serve as a bridge to deeper wisdom and understanding. This phase encourages us to embody the lessons learned from our struggles, and in doing so we can become a source of inspiration for others who may face similar challenges. And the mythical journey of Chiron who transcended his own suffering through healing others, reflects the opportunity to transform personal adversity, personal pain into collective empowerment by, sharing our pain and understanding others' pain. But first we have to understand and, start the work of healing our own pain, because sometimes we think we need to be so ahead to help others, but sometimes we just need to be one step further along than others. And sometimes, we may be further along than some people in some ways, and you may think, oh, they could never help me, but they may have expertise experiencing something that you don't. So it goes back to that old saying, never judge a book by its cover. So it stirs up emotional sort of like feelings that push us creatively to channel our experiences into artistic, creative expression, singing, dancing, painting, whatever it is that can help you, journaling, help you let out your emotions. And we can feel inspired to explore various forms of creativity as the means of processing and articulating, expressing our journey, our pain right now. So it's all about expressing and processing our emotions, processing them, thinking about them first and expressing them to ourselves. Dream journal, normal journal, voice recording yourself, video recording yourself, writing your feelings down, being creative. And this act of creation, expressing yourself can serve as a cathartic, a release, a really uplifting, powerful release that allows you to externalize your inner truths and connect with others on a more deeper, heartfelt sort of like level. So whether this be writing poetry, drawing, whatever for some of you, emotionally it wants us to sort of like transform our pain into beauty and to build resilience and, really resonate with our own feelings and others' feelings right now, and embrace this time of reflection and expression as a big part of our healing journey, increasing both our personal growth and our connection to the wider community. So now I'm going to talk about the specific aspects that Chiron makes when it goes direct this year. So first it's making a trine to Mercury. So this allows us to, it's a good harmonious connection between Mercury and Chiron, and it supports us in sort of like having deep healing through conversations and self-expression. And Mercury's trine to Chiron can supports us with having more understanding, empathy, and helps us to heal through our words and thoughts right now. So good for reprogramming the subconscious mind. You can fall into sleep with uplifting meditation or uplifting words from people I don't know, James Allen, Uncle Mendino, Louise Hay, Tara Brach, just anyone, Neville Goddard, Manly P. Hall. And it wants us to, really dig deep within ourselves and, really heal our old wounds. But negatively, it can make us think too much, overthink. We can be overly critical of ourselves and others, but ultimately the best use of this energy of Mercury's trine to Chiron, again, is to have meaningful discussions, therapy sessions, journaling. So it's good for emotional processing and growth. So that's really, really good. And by really working with this energy, we can make profound leaps forward in our healing journey. There's a T-square between Mercury in Scorpio, Jupiter in Taurus, and Saturn in Aquarius as well, within a 20% orb. So it allows us to really put the spotlight on how we communicate, how we expand our beliefs, because a lot of the time we believe what our religions tell us blindly, our family, our friends, or the newspapers, social media, but never question why we believe these things. It also this T-square allow us to face our challenges. So Mercury in Scorpio brings depth and intensity over the 8 months Chiron's direct to our thoughts and communication style, because the aspect that planet mates, or asteroid in this case mates, when it does the movement, like it's going direct, stays with it the whole time. It stays in that movement, so this is a whole 7 months where it allows us to explore our hidden truths. Jupiter in Taurus allows us to do it in a stable way, work work on our growth and bring more material abundance in our life by working on what material abundance means to us, our inner values, and making a plan to make ourselves more emotional, psychologically, spiritually and physical, and even financially stable as well. This energy can be used for, it wants us to push beyond our current comfort zone, our current beliefs, our current horizons through practical means. So this helps us to take those practical actions that Chiron direct energy wants us. When it's in retrograde, it's more thinking about the changes we want to make. When it's direct, it gives us the energy to put them into practical sort of like expression. And Saturn in Aquarius allows us to have that structure and discipline to our lives and be more innovative in our ideas and how we think about our social responsibilities, especially to those who are addicts in society, homeless, those people that we tend to look down upon, or think are, not worthy. So it just allows us to really just get real about what it's going to take to change our world, and we can all blame each other, but really until individually, those who can, we sort out our own emotional, psychological and spiritual problems, I believe the world will always be as it is, because we blame other people, different generations. One generation blames the one before, and it's a cycle, but we all have to sort of like look within and see what little changes or big changes, look at what changes we are capable of, making within our daily thoughts and habits and stuff. So yeah, Saturn in Aquarius in the T-square just allows us to, have that kind of standing to move forward. So now I'm just going to talk about the karmic meanings, the type of past life memories and dreams that can come up when Chiron is direct, and the collective, karma of this energy. So again, as I said, in terms of karmic lessons, it highlights the importance of acknowledging and addressing, confronting our past pain, suffering and hurts and experiences in order to break free from the karmic patterns that are holding us back. So themes of abandonment, betrayal and feeling inadequate, not good enough, can come to the front of our attention right now, as Chiron direct, as I said, forces us to confront our deepest wounds, and we can ignore this, right? It's, again, this is why I say I mentioned about the practical things we can do, because these transits happen, but unless we, practically use the energies and by seeking out the tools to help us heal, whether it be therapy, committing to personal development, self-help and stuff. So it wants us to look at our past traumas and how, healing them can help us sort of like change our life, taking that practical action, seeking out the tools, as I said, to help us manage our psychological, emotional and spiritual trauma and wounds and our generational dysfunction, which are the habits that are passed on through our families, and the way we interact in social groups and stuff with our friends, our intimate partners and in general. So for example, imagine someone who has always struggled with feelings of unworthiness due to childhood experiences of neglect, and we may be sort of like presented right now with situations that trigger these feelings, take us back to our childhood, take us back to our heartbreak, whatever, and whatever happens right now is pushing us to dig into our past and uncover the root cause of our issues, as I said before. So in terms of past life memories or dreams, themes around forgiveness and releasing our karmic burdens or releasing ourselves from our past. A lot of the time, we can not let things go, and it can be hard, things that happen in childhood, whether we was bullied, rejected, heartbreak and stuff. So it wants us to release ourselves from our past, and it gives us the healing energy to do so. So some of you may have vivid dreams of being in situations where you were wounded or where you may have caused harm to others, and this pushes self-reflection on the impact of your actions across lifetimes, but not in a way to beat yourself up, but to acknowledge it and for you to change, or for you to forgive those that have hurt you, work on forgiveness, because it can be hard. And sometimes we may have vivid dreams right now. Some of you may dream of being left behind by a loved one, or constantly seeking validation. Past lives where you never felt worthy may come up as well. And these dreams are sort of like prompting you to heal these issues. The collective karma of Chiron direct wants us to, focus on healing and growth as a society, encourages us to come together to address deep-seated societal wounds such as systematic injustices, oppression and trauma, but ultimately, it just highlights this energy karmically, the interconnectedness of humanity through our shared struggles and traumas, and for us to acknowledge that we were all dealing with something, and rather than seeing our differences, what can be vast, seeing the similarities as human beings as well, So this energy wants us to, work on healing ourselves. So now I'm going to talk about how Chiron direct affects relationships on a deeper level, especially our family ones, our friendship, co-worker, committed, hookups and single and self-partnered relationships. So in terms of our family relationships, it stimulates healing, encourages us to be open about our communication, about our past wounds and unresolved issues. It brings to the surface old grief and grievances, and this can allow for us to confront and potentially heal from our emotional pain in an ideal world, but we may find that our relationships deepen and evolve by confronting these things, and this can create a sense of understanding and more compassion among our family members. But negatively, Chiron going direct in terms of our family can make issues worse in our conflicts in our families. As I said, in an ideal world we can solve them, but a lot of the times, the things that can come up, sensitive topics, can provoke defensiveness or emotional outbursts or control and possessiveness, and this can make it difficult to navigate family dynamics right now. And if we don't address what comes up constructively, these moments can create rifts or reinforce patterns of behaviour that undermine the family unit, and this can result in a cycle of hurt that may take time to repair and mend. In terms of friendship, Chiron direct acts as a powerful agent of healing in our friendship, encouraging us to confront and discuss past traumas and misunderstandings, and this can create a deeper sort of emotional connections, as we sort of in our friendship group support each other in overcoming our personal struggles, and we can have more open conversations about our vulnerabilities, and this can lead to strengthening our bonds and our shared experiences, and this can create a sense of feeling together, and mutual understanding, and we can find that our friendships transform into more supportive and nurturing relationships, and this can promote growth for everyone involved in the friendships. But negatively, just like in our family relationships, this conflict can bring feelings of jealousy, insecurity or betrayal, or feeling like, oh, you shouldn't have said this, you've hurt my feelings, sort of thing. So if we don't handle this energy with care, these feelings can result in misunderstandings or even, deterioration, ending for some of you of once strong relationships. But this could be, the purpose for some of you, for you to let go of things that may be toxic to you or someone else, because sometimes loving someone or caring for someone can mean letting them go. It doesn't always mean being in their life, even though it can be painful. It's essential to approach these challenges with empathy and openness, otherwise the strain can push our friendships further apart rather than bringing them together. In terms of co-worker relationship, it can create an atmosphere of healing and support where we encourage each other and we address past kind of grievances or falling out, conflicts, and this can lead to stronger bonds and a more cohesive together workplace, happy workplace. And by sharing experiences and providing mutual support, we can contribute to a more positive workplace dynamic, but Chiron direct can also bring tension and old wounds and conflicts and passive aggressiveness and competition, competitiveness, rivalness can come up, and feelings of resentment can manifest, and this can get in the way way of like team balance and harmony. So it's important to address, conflicts constructively rather than have it a point scoring system of I was right, I'm right, you're wrong sort of thing. That can lead to misunderstandings or a toxic work environment. It's important to be sensitive and, use open communication to minimize conflict and promote healing within the workplace. In terms of committed relationships, it allows for, deep healing and understanding where we can discuss our past wounds and emotional vulnerabilities, and this can increase our intimacy and allow us, allow everyone in the relationship to grow. And it allows us to address long-standing issues, and this can create a sense of teamwork and connection as we navigate challenges together. It encourages us to forgive and have compassion and create a nurturing environment where love can flourish and strengthen the bonds you share. But negatively, it can lead to unresolved issues. This can lead to potential conflicts and misunderstandings. And old pain can come up, and this can lead to insecurities. And this can push, disagreements can come up as well if we don't handle it. Whatever comes up with care right now, and this goes the same in our hookup relationships as well. If we lie and don't be open with our hookup partners right now, we can hurt them. So just make sure you say what you mean and mean what you say, and don't just say things just to get what you want. Whether be honest, and the temptation to do so, not to hurt others' feelings, but a lot of the time we can hurt them more in the long run when we try not to hurt people's feelings. So we have to handle any challenges that come up with care. Make sure that communication can be difficult right now, but being honest, make sure that resentments don't come up, or sort of in the long term, even though short term it can be hard to hear the things. Encourages us to have more empathy, have more of a willingness to listen, and ensure that the healing potential of Chiron is realised rather than overshadowed by avoidance and negativity and not being honest as well. By being intimate and allowing intimacy to sort of like be repaired or grow in both hookup and committed relationship can really help us resolve long-standing issues, or maybe end some hookup relationships or committed ones that are not working for us as well. But whatever happens, just try and be as honest as you can. In terms of single and self-partnered relationships, it stimulates, healing. It wants us to confront and embrace our past wounds. This can lead to greater self-acceptance, and by engaging in self-reflection and personal growth, allowing ourselves to identify patterns that we may have previously, got in the way of us healing and our ability to connect with others. And as we develop more self-compassion, we can develop healthier boundaries, which can increase our future relationships. But it can also bring up underlying insecurities that can lead to feelings of isolation and self-doubt if you're single or self-partnered. And as we kind of struggle with unresolved emotional pain, this can manifest as us being vulnerable in wanting and having the fear of getting into another relationship again. And this inner turmoil can cause a sense of stagnation, making it challenging to embrace the journey of self-partnership or being single, or even attracting new relationships fully. So, work on developing self-compassion and setting healthier boundaries with yourself, and connecting with others, and looking at, your barriers to connecting with yourself deeper and others as well. And as we navigate our feelings more mindfully and use them as a stepping stone towards healing rather than letting them dictate our self-worth, we can just have more deeper understanding, because it can be hard after having a heartbreak to let someone in. So I get it, So now we, just have to work on getting real with ourselves and working on our barriers to being vulnerable, So now I'm going to talk about how Chiron direct affects our career, personal, spiritual, educational and self-partner development. So in terms of our career development, it wants us to focus on confronting any limiting beliefs or past professional traumas, and it allows us to redefine our career goals. We can find, a renewal in our motivation to go after what we really want in our professional life, and this can lead to opportunities for mentorship or working with others, or just new advancement in your current career, or seeking out opportunities in different career paths, and as you embrace your vulnerabilities, you may discover a unique purpose in helping others navigate their own challenges professionally, and this can lead to more fulfilling roles and increased recognition in your field of expertise in your career, But negatively, because it can bring up unresolved issues to the surface, and this can affect our confidence and decision-making abilities, and we can experience self-doubt or fear of failure, and this can get in the way of our ability to take risks or go after new opportunities. And it can just, as I said, make us feel inadequate, especially if we compare our journey to others. So it's important to, respect where you are at, and remember that we all progress in life at different rates, and that's okay. We only have to be better than who we was. We don't need to compare ourselves to others, but we are programmed to do that. So this energy just wants us to become more self-aware and resilient, and to love on ourselves, and to recognize that if you're willing to improve your skills, you can go after and do do the things you want to do in your career and all areas of your life, and by addressing any wounds related to your career right now can lead to greater professional growth. So in terms of personal development, it wants us to, have more self-reflection and commit to lifelong personal growth, seeing it as a necessity to keep staying in this ever, crazy world, and it wants us to use therapy or self-help, literature, podcasts, tools, books, supportive communities that can help us increase our self-love, respect, awareness, forgiveness and understanding, and our emotional, psychological and spiritual resilience. And understand it's, as I said, life is a journey, it's not a competition, it's not just thinking about the end goal, allowing yourself to be more vulnerable, loving and accepting of your past, and being more authentic in your now, and becoming more self-empowered, and allowing yourself to transform pain into strength and wisdom. But negatively, because we can feel insecure right now and anxious, and we may have to face aspects of ourselves that we have avoided, because we avoid doing that, we numb ourselves through our drug, alcohol, toxic relationships, distractions, So this energy really wants us to build more resilience, but it can also bring resistance to change, making it difficult for us to move forward as we struggle to make sense of our past experiences. But it's crucial to acknowledge the challenges that can come up and seek supportive environments to process your emotions, whether that can just be alone, giving yourself the space to love and understand yourself and be gentle of yourself and grow rather than stay the same in your comfort zone and experience stagnation. It wants you to process your emotions and be open to moving forward in your life. In terms of spiritual development, it wants us to explore different techniques like different forms of meditation, holistically taking a holistic approach to spiritual development and connecting to your higher self and your higher power, or the divine, whatever you call it. You call that presence, God, or whatever. It wants you to be open to letting go. Maybe a lot of the time in our journey, as I said, it's about letting go of certain tools. Sometimes we can get stuck and certain tools and belief systems, and sometimes we, ultimately, as I said, it's about learning to trust the guidance you get from within. But before we do that, we have to learn to discern those anxious voices, that depressed voices, the different voices that we have, to that one true intuitive voice, and knowing that although we may have our triggers, we can still overcome them and learn to manage them. So it allows us to have a renewed sense of self-love, respect, understanding and purpose, and it can bring spiritual clarity. But negatively, negatively, it can lead to a crisis of faith and us becoming disillusioned with our spiritual paths. As we confront unhealed wounds, we may question our beliefs and the very foundations of our spiritual paths and truths, or religious paths, and this inner turmoil, upset, conflict can cause more stagnation or sense of being lost. But sometimes, being lost, although it's not pleasant when we feel, like that, abandoned, or we're having those dark nights of the souls, but ultimately they serve us as, we take the time to get through it. For some of you, it can take a year. For some of you, it's a month. For some of you, it's a day. For, being gentle with yourself and not comparing your journey to others. And it wants us to acknowledge that these struggles are essential and that they can pave the way for deeper self-understanding and a more authentic spiritual awareness and journey, and just going as steady as you go, which is also a song by the Vac and Kurz, I think, and just remind us to take one step at a time, or Whitney Houston, Step by Step. That's another good song to help us, So in terms of our educational development, it allows us and makes us feel inspired to pursue new areas of study or deepen our existing knowledge. And we can find ourselves drawn to subjects that address our personal healing or collective well-being, and this can create a sense of purpose in our learning, and it can increase our ability to emphasize with others and enrich our academic activities and our relationships with, our peers, our classmates, our colleagues, or however you do address them. But negatively, because it can make us feel inadequate, especially have more self-doubt about our abilities to learn educational things, our educational abilities, our ability to learn new skills or, gain concepts. But again, it can just be about finding the right techniques for you to, understand yourself. And although you may encounter challenges that trigger past traumas, especially those related to learning or teaching, but this can lead to frustration or avoidance of educational settings. And although this struggle may get in the way of your progress, it's essential to confront and heal these wounds. And by acknowledging these difficulties, it can lead to significant breakthroughs, and allowing us to reclaim our confidence and passion for learning. But we just have to make sure that we are open to, releasing the triggers that we face about, our ability to learn new things that can lead to frustration or avoiding learning new things, and just allow ourselves to give us the space, to learn the things we need. Sometimes we can think, well, someone else can learn this in a day, why can't I? Just going at your own pace. And in terms of self-partner development, it wants us to embrace our vulnerabilities and recognize them as pathways to self-acceptance, and allow ourselves to develop a deeper understanding of our emotional needs and desires, leading to a more compassionate relationship with ourselves. And although, this period gives us self-reflection, which is pushing you to prioritize self-care and activities that nurture your well-being and personal growth, but negatively, because it brings up unresolved issues, it can be, challenging right now to, over the coming months, to fully engage with your self-partnered journey, because of feelings of unworthiness or inadequacy can come up, and this can lead to self-sabotage or isolation, and this can get in the way of your ability to, create a healthy relationship with yourself. So it becomes essential to confront these feelings and work through the pain so you can emerge stronger, more resilient. And again, just be gentle with yourself as you pursue, more self-love and personal development. So now I'm just going to talk about the best things for creative professionals and entrepreneurs and alternative healers and lovers and those who are single and self-partnered to do. So in terms of creatives, it wants us to explore new creative plans and, working with others, collaborations, and this can bring more emotional healing and release into your life. Professionals and entrepreneurs can find it beneficial to reflect on their past wounds and insecurities that are holding them back in their careers, seeking ways to address and overcome them. Alternative healers could focus on developing innovative healing techniques that integrate traditional practices with modern approaches to promoting holistic well-being. Lovers can experience intensified emotional connections and opportunities for healing unresolved relationship issues, and this can help you improve your relationships. Singles can use this energy to think about their personal growth and to heal from past heartaches. Self-partners should use it to embrace self-love practices and prioritize their own emotional well-being at this time. So now I'm just going to finish up with questions that people can ask themselves while Chiron's direct regarding their financial, emotional and spiritual needs. So in terms of your financial needs, you can ask yourself, are your current financial practices, the way you spend and save money, your income supporting your long-term goals, or do they reflect a response to past wounds or fears? Because a lot of the time, we can hold ourselves back. I know economics and all the rest of it, but I believe there's that nature and financial. If we look at the ebbs and flows of the financial world, the world seems to run on recessions and growth periods. So if we work in line with those, we can think of the things, the careers to do or the extra side hustles to do when we're in a recession, and the things we should be doing. Because a lot of the time we've got a lot of, when it's a growth period in finances, we can overspend, but sometimes we need to save in those periods so we can spend while we are going through recession. So looking into whether you are investing your time, money, energy into avenues that create growth and security, or if you are remaining stuck in patterns that get in the way of your financial progress. Emotionally, it wants us to examine how our past experiences shape our present relationships and self-perceptions, asking ourselves, are there any lingering emotional, psychological and spiritual wounds that need addressing so we can move forward, and reflect on whether we are allowing ourselves to fully express our feelings, or if we are maintaining our walls or defense mechanisms that protect us from being vulnerable but cut us off from experiencing new experiences in life and the richness of life. Spiritually wants us to think about if our current spiritual practices resonate with our inner self, and if they're really helping us find healing or stopping us from progressing to a next level. Because as I said, on the spiritual path, sometimes we can hold ourselves back by not letting go of past spiritual techniques that once help us. So consider whether we are nurturing our spirit through meaningful rituals or connections, or if we are staying on paths or that kind of stop us from growing, or we strayed from paths that once provided us with clarity and solace. Because for some of us, we may know what to do, which is a lot of the case. I believe that us humans know what to do, but we kind of, life can get in the way of it. So by balancing the aspects of ourselves that lead toward a more fulfilling and integrated life, we can just have more kind of self-happiness, esteem, love, understanding, by nurturing ourselves in the right ways and letting go of the spiritual and other techniques that are getting in the way of our growth. We can, find that growth and stability. And as I said, I know it can be hard to get outside of our comfort zone. So in terms of our psychological and physical needs, we can ask ourselves, are we recognizing and honoring our emotions and psychological needs, our spiritual needs, and how often do we suppress our feelings and spiritual and psychological needs in the name of productivity, the way of, I don't have time to do this, but I've got time to Netflix and chill endlessly, or endlessly scroll through social media, or do things that actually make me feel more depressed and anxious, and we should consider whether our daily routines provide us with a sense of balance and happiness, fulfillment, or if they contribute to our depression, our stress, our exhaustment, us feeling exhausted, like life can never get better. Is it because life can't get better, or is it because the habits, the things, the relationships we're happy in are keeping us back? So reflect on whether we are surrounding ourselves with supportive relationships that encourage our healing, or if we're holding on to connections that drain our energy. Also, in terms of our physical needs, thinking about our lifestyle choices and how they affect our overall health and vitality. So asking ourselves, are we nourishing our body with the right foods and exercise and rest? Are we listening to our body's signals or ignoring them in the pursuit of, external expectations, what our family, lovers, friends expect, what our nations and religions solely expect from us, and whether this is healthy, evaluating if our workspace and living environment support our well-being, or if they promote our discomfort and distraction, especially on the psychological, spiritual and emotional levels. And I know sometimes life can't be perfect, but we can perfect ourselves from inwardly. The whole world can be in chaos, but we can get to love and nurture and respect ourselves in such a level that we never feel abandoned, even when life throws its endless crap at us sometimes. So it wants us to embrace self-reflection and realign our actions with our deeper needs and goals, and by doing that we can be more intentional in our personal growth. So in terms of the rituals that we can do to look after our spiritual, physical, nutritional and psychological needs, we can spiritually engage in mindfulness practices such as meditation and journaling, as I said, to increase our self-awareness, love and respect, and facilitate the emotional understanding and release and healing that we need. And these activities and others that you can find, things that help you connect with your inner self and allow for you to explore your past wounds and recognize areas that require healing. And rituals like clearing or spending time in nature can ground you and encourage a sense of belonging in the universe and within yourself, because a lot of the time, as I said, we don't feel like we belong in this world or with others because we don't feel like we belong within ourselves. So physically, we can prioritize eating a diet rich in whole foods, fresh fruits, or eating right for your type, vegetables or lean proteins to nourish your body adequately. And by incorporating daily movement that you enjoy, whether it's dancing, yoga, walking, this can help you have a more positive relationship with your physical self, loving on yourself, hugging yourself, having nice baths, just being gentle with yourself, making sure that you get enough sleep, creating a calming environment in your life, making sure you switch off the lights, just making sure you allow yourself to relax in whatever, some people don't need the lights, but I do think sometimes the atmosphere, the lights, we can't, if you're attuned to sleeping with the lights on, then you are, but just finding out how you can calm yourself environmentally by producing an atmosphere that allows you to, do that inner work, that shadow work, looking at what inner and shadow work are. Psychologically, it wants us to engage in practices that promote positive thoughts and affirmation, self-compassion, challenging any negative self-talk by understanding it, seeking therapy or joining supportive communities, or just listening to your inner voice and the toxicity and writing them down and counteracting it and looking at tools that can help you over time. It's, as I said, it's a journey. Life it's not a destination, so just making a commitment or sticking to your prior commitment to focus on your personal growth and healing and having more compassion for yourself can lead to us collectively having more compassion for everyone else, that especially those who are different from us. And we do this first by having compassion for all the different aspects of our own personality, which can be sort of like hard to do, but once we've done that, we've got that inner core that can help us through life's heartbreaks and ups and downs and stuff, and I can personally vouch for that. So never give up on yourself. And so that's the end of this very in-depth special on Chiron going direct. I'm Amani, your holistic astrological life coach. Take care and see you next time.